context and why this matters, let me start by explaining what's happening here. Service Canada has a system called automatic enrollment for old age security. This means that when you turn 64, the government uses information they already have about you, from your tax returns, your social insurance number records, and your birth registration, to determine if you're eligible for OAS. If you qualify, they start the process without you having to fill out a single form. This letter you received is confirmation that Service Canada has enrolled you automatically. You'll start receiving your OAS pension the month after you turn 65, assuming you meet all the eligibility requirements. The government introduced this system to make sure seniors don't miss out on benefits simply because they didn't know how to apply or forgot to send in paperwork. Now, why does this matter? Because old age security is the foundation of retirement income for most Canadians. It's a monthly payment from the federal government that you receive based on how long you've lived in Canada after age 18. For many seniors, especially those with little or no workplace pension, OAS is critical. Missing even 1 month of payments because of a paperwork delay can create real financial stress. So receiving this letter means the system is working for you. But I know it raises questions, and that's exactly what we're going to answer today. Official Rule Explanation. Let me explain the official rules around automatic enrollment, using plain English. According to Service Canada and the Government of Canada, you are automatically enrolled in OAS if all of the following are true. First, you are turning 65. The letter typically arrives when you're 64, giving you notice about what's coming. Second, you are a Canadian citizen or legal resident at the time Service Canada reviews your file. Third, Service Canada has enough information on file to confirm your age and your residency history in Canada. This usually comes from your tax returns filed with the Canada Revenue Agency, or CRA. If you've been filing taxes regularly in Canada, they have what they need. Fourth, you meet the basic residency requirement for OAS. To qualify for any OAS payment, you must have lived in Canada for at least 10 years after turning 18. That's the minimum threshold. If all 4 conditions are met, Service Canada sends you this letter around the time you turn 64. The letter will confirm that you're enrolled, tell you when your first payment will arrive, and give you an estimate of how much you'll receive each month. Now, here's something important. The letter is not asking you to do anything in most cases. It's informational. Service Canada is saying, "We've enrolled you. Your payments will start automatically. Here's what you need to know." However, and this is critical, the letter will also tell you if there's something you need to verify or update. For example, if Service Canada is unsure about your exact residency history, they might ask you to confirm how many years you've lived in Canada. Or if you've lived or worked outside Canada, they may need additional details. Read the letter carefully to see if action is required. Real-life examples. Let me give you 2 real-life examples to make this clearer. Example 1. Automatic enrollment with no action needed. Maria lives in Toronto. She was born in Canada in 1961. She's worked in Canada her whole life and has filed her taxes every year. In January 2026, Maria turned 64. A few weeks later, she received a letter from Service Canada. The letter said, "You have been automatically enrolled in the Old Age Security Pension. Your first payment will be issued in March 2027, the month after you turn 65. Based on your residency, you qualify for a full OAS pension. Your estimated monthly payment is approximately $727. Maria was confused at first because she didn't apply for anything, but after reading the letter carefully, she realized she didn't need to do anything. Service Canada had all the information they needed from her tax returns. She simply filed the letter away and marked her calendar for March 2027, when the payments would start. Example 2. Automatic enrollment with follow-up required. David was born in Scotland in 1961. He immigrated to Canada in 1985, so he's lived in Canada for about 41 years. He became a Canadian citizen in 1992. He's filed his taxes in Canada every year since arriving. In February 2026, David turned 64. He received the same type of letter from Service Canada about automatic enrollment, but his letter had an additional paragraph. It said, "We need to confirm your residency history. Please complete the attached form and return it within 30 days so we can calculate your exact OAS entitlement." David was worried at first, thinking he'd done something wrong, but the letter explained that because he was born outside Canada, Service Canada needed him to confirm the exact dates he lived in Canada versus abroad. This is normal. David filled out the form, listing his arrival date in 1985 and confirming he'd been in Canada continuously since then. He sent it back, and a few weeks later, he received a second letter confirming his OAS amount. Because he lived in Canada for 41 years after turning 18, he qualified for a full OAS pension, just like Maria. The key difference? Maria's file was straightforward. David's required one extra step because of his immigration history. Both received automatic enrollment letters. Both are getting OAS. One just had a small piece of paperwork to complete. What to check, what to do now. Let's talk about what you should do when you receive this letter. I'm going to walk through this step by step. Step 1. Read the entire letter carefully. I know this sounds obvious, but many seniors skim the letter, see the words old age security, and assume they need to call someone immediately. Start by reading every word. The letter will tell you exactly what's happening and whether you need to take action. Step 2. Check your enrollment status. The letter should confirm that you've been enrolled and tell you when payments will begin. Typically, your first OAS payment arrives the month after you turn 65. So if your 65th birthday is in June 2026, your first payment would be deposited in July 2026. Make a note of this date. Step 3. Verify the payment amount. The letter will give you an estimated monthly payment. This estimate is based on how many years you've lived in Canada after age 18. If you've lived in Canada for 40 years or more after turning 18, you qualify for the full OAS pension. In 2026, the maximum monthly OAS payment is approximately $727, though this amount is indexed quarterly, so it changes slightly with inflation. If you've lived in Canada for less than 40 years, your payment is prorated. For example, if you lived in Canada for 30 years after turning 18, you'd receive 30/40ths of the full pension, which works out to about $545 per month. Check whether the amount listed in your letter makes sense based on your residency. If it seems too low, there may be an issue with how Service Canada calculated your time in Canada. Step 4. Look for any requests or forms. If the letter includes a form or asks you to provide additional information, do not ignore this. Service Canada needs this information to finalize your enrollment. Common requests include confirming residency dates, providing proof of Canadian status, or clarifying time spent outside Canada. Complete and return any forms by the deadline given in the letter. Step 5. Check your My Service Canada account. If you don't already have a My Service Canada account, now is a good time to set one up. This is a secure online portal where you can view your OAS enrollment status, see your payment history once payments start, and update your personal information like your address or direct deposit details. To access it, go to the Service Canada website and follow the steps to register. You'll need your social insurance number and access to your CRA account or a bank account for identity verification. Once you're logged in, look for the section labeled Old Age Security. You should see confirmation that you've been enrolled and details about your upcoming payments. Step 6. Verify your direct deposit information. OAS payments are deposited directly into your bank account. If Service Canada doesn't have your current banking information on file, your payments could be delayed. Check your My Service Canada account or call Service Canada to confirm that your direct deposit details are correct. Step 7. Decide if you want to defer. Here's something most people don't realize. You don't have to start receiving OAS at 65. You can defer your OAS pension for up to 5 years until age 70. If you defer, your monthly payment increases by 0.6% for every month you delay, which works out to 7.2% per year. If you defer for the full 5 years, your OAS payment would be 36% higher when you finally start receiving it. The letter may mention this option. If you want to defer, you need to contact Service Canada and tell them. Otherwise, payments will start automatically at 65. Most seniors don't defer because they need the income right away. But if you're still working and earning a good income, deferring can make sense. Just be aware that if your income is high enough, you may have to repay some or all of your OAS through the OAS recovery tax, also called the clawback. Step 8. Contact Service Canada if something seems wrong. If any information in the letter is incorrect, your address, your birth date, your residency estimate, contact Service Canada immediately. You can call them at 1-800-277-9914. Wait times can be long, so call early in the morning if possible. You can also visit a Service Canada office in person if you prefer. What not to panic about. Let me be very clear about a few things that are normal and not cause for concern. You did not miss a deadline. Automatic enrollment means there was no deadline to miss. Service Canada enrolled you on their own. You are not being audited. This letter is not an investigation. It's a standard notification sent to everyone who qualifies for automatic enrollment. You do not owe money. The letter is not a bill. It's confirming that you're about to start receiving money from the government. You do not need to hire anyone to help you. Some seniors receive calls or emails from companies claiming they can help you get your OAS benefits. These are often scams or unnecessary services. Service Canada does this for free. You don't need to pay anyone. Common mistakes and warnings. Now let me walk through the most common mistakes seniors make when they receive this letter, because understanding these will save you time and worry. Mistake 1. Ignoring the letter because they think it's junk mail. Some seniors receive so much mail that they assume anything from the government is either a scam or not urgent. This letter is neither. It's official, it's important, and it requires your attention. Even if you don't need to take action, you should read it and file it somewhere safe. You'll want to refer back to it when your payments start. Mistake 2. Assuming automatic enrollment means full benefits. Automatic enrollment does not mean you automatically get the maximum OAS payment. It means Service Canada has enrolled you based on the information they have, but your payment amount depends on how long you've lived in Canada. If you've only been in Canada for 20 years after turning 18, you'll receive a partial pension, not the full amount. Read the letter carefully to see what you're entitled to. Mistake 3. not responding to requests for information. If Service Canada asks you to confirm something or fill out a form and you ignore it, your OAS payments will be delayed. Service Canada cannot finalize your enrollment without the information they've requested. If you're unsure what they're asking for, call them. Don't just hope the problem goes away. Mistake 4. Confusing OAS with CPP. Old Age Security and the Canada Pension Plan are two completely different programs. OAS is based on residency in Canada. CPP is based on your work history and contributions to the CPP system. You can receive one, both, or neither, depending on your situation. Some seniors receive this OAS enrollment letter and assume it also covers their CPP. It does not. If you want to apply for CPP retirement benefits, you need to apply separately. CPP does not have automatic enrollment in the same way OAS does. Mistake 5. Thinking OAS is taxable income but not reporting it. OAS is taxable income. When you start receiving it, you'll need to report it on your tax return. Service Canada will send you a T4A slip each year showing how much OAS you received. Make sure you give this to your tax preparer or enter it when filing your taxes. Also be aware that if your income is above a certain threshold, you may have to repay some of your OAS through the recovery tax. For 2026, the threshold is approximately $90,997. If your net income on line 23,600 of your tax return is above this amount, you'll repay 15 cents for every dollar over the threshold. If your income reaches approximately $148,451, you'll repay your entire OAS pension. This is something to consider if you're still working or have significant investment income. The OAS clawback is real, and it surprises many higher-income seniors. Mistake 6. Not updating Service Canada when circumstances change. If you move, change your bank account, or spend extended time outside Canada after your OAS starts, you need to notify Service Canada. If you live outside Canada for more than 6 months, your OAS payments may be affected. The rules are complex, depending on how long you lived in Canada before leaving, so contact Service Canada if this applies to you. Mistake 7. Falling for scams. After you receive this letter, you may start getting phone calls or emails from people claiming to be from Service Canada, saying there's a problem with your enrollment and you need to provide your social insurance number or banking information to fix it. These are scams. Service Canada will never call you out of the blue, asking for your SIN or bank details. If you receive a suspicious call, hang up and call Service Canada directly at 1-800-277-9914 to verify whether there's actually an issue with your file. Future impact. Let me explain what happens after you receive this letter and your OAS payments begin, because understanding the timeline will help you plan. First payment. Your first OAS payment will arrive the month after you turn 65. Payments are deposited around the last 3 business days of each month. So if you turn 65 in June, expect your first payment in late July. The payment will be deposited into the bank account Service Canada has on file. If there's an issue with direct deposit, Service Canada will mail you a check, but this takes longer and is less secure. Quarterly indexing OAS is indexed to inflation 4 times per year, in January, April, July, and October. This means your payment amount can increase slightly every quarter based on the Consumer Price Index. Service Canada calculates this automatically. You don't need to apply for the increase, it just happens. For example, if inflation is running at 2% annually, you might see your OAS payment increase by about 0.0% each quarter. These increases are small, but they add up over time and help your OAS keep pace with the rising cost of living. July recalculation If you receive GIS, if your income is low enough, you may also qualify for the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GCS, on top of your OAS. GCS is recalculated every July based on your income from the previous tax year. So if you start receiving OAS in 2026 and your income qualifies you for GIS, your GIS amount will be recalculated in July 2027 based on your 2026 income. The OAS auto-enrollment letter usually does not mention GIS. That's a separate benefit, and you may need to apply for it separately if you weren't automatically enrolled. However, Service Canada is increasingly auto-enrolling seniors in GIS as well, so check your My Service Canada account to see if you've been enrolled in both. Tax implications. Starting in the year you turn 65, you'll receive a T4A slip from Service Canada showing your total OAS income for the year. You'll report this online 11/300 of your tax return. Remember, OAS is taxable, and depending on your total income, you may also be subject to the OAS recovery tax. If you expect to owe OAS recovery tax, you can ask Service Canada to withhold tax directly from your monthly payments. This prevents a surprise tax bill when you file your return. Call Service Canada to set this up. What happens if you move or travel? If you remain a resident of Canada, your OAS continues for life. But if you move outside Canada permanently, the rules change. If you lived in Canada for at least 20 years after turning 18, you can continue receiving OAS even if you move abroad. If you lived in Canada for less than 20 years after turning 18, your OAS stops after 6 months of living outside Canada. If you're just traveling or spending winters in another country, but Canada remains your primary residence, this doesn't affect your OAS. Just make sure Service Canada has your correct mailing address if you're away for extended periods. Death of a spouse. If you're married or in a common law relationship and your spouse passes away, your OAS is not affected. You'll continue receiving your own OAS based on your residency. However, if your spouse was receiving OAS, their payments stop the month after they pass away. You may be eligible for the allowance for the survivor if you're between 60 and 64 and your spouse has died. This is a separate benefit, and you'd need to apply for it through Service Canada. Calm summary. Let me bring this all together in simple terms. If you received a Service Canada letter about automatic enrollment in old age security, it means the government has reviewed your file and determined you're eligible to receive OAS starting the month after you turn 65. In most cases, you don't need to do anything. Service Canada has the information they need from your tax returns and other records, and your payments will start automatically. Read the letter carefully to confirm the payment start date and the estimated monthly amount. If the letter asks you to provide additional information or complete a form, do so by the deadline. If you have any questions or if something in the letter seems incorrect, contact Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 or visit a Service Canada office. Set up a My Service Canada account so you can track your enrollment status and view your payment details online. Make sure your direct deposit information is correct so your payments aren't delayed. Remember that OAS is based on how long you've lived in Canada after age 18. If you've been here for 40 years or more, you'll receive the full pension. If you've been here for less time, your payment will be prorated accordingly. OAS is taxable income, and if your income is high enough, you may have to repay some or all of it through the recovery tax. Keep this in mind when planning your retirement income strategy. Most importantly, don't panic. This letter is good news. It means the system is working for you, and you're about to start receiving a monthly payment that will continue for the rest of your life, indexed to inflation. Engagement prompt. Now I'd like to hear from you. Have you received your OAS auto-enrollment letter yet? Did it raise any questions or concerns that I didn't cover in this video? Let me know in the comments below. I read every comment, and your questions help me create videos that address the real issues Canadian seniors are facing. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post new videos every week covering CPP, OAS, GIS, and other retirement benefits for Canadians. Click the bell icon so you're notified when I upload new content. And if you know someone who's turning 64 or 65 soon and might be confused about this whole process, share this video with them. Clear information helps everyone make better decisions. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.